Good afternoon once again, and I'm here to talk about, as she mentioned, that about the growth of the game, how we started playing this game, where we are, where we're going to go, and we start from the very beginning, the colonization of the sport in India. How did cricket come here? क्यों आया यहाँ पे? So I think this was brought by our masters, the British Empire, or this was their thought that this is the game. It was not brought any benefit to us. It was not brought for any purpose. It was brought to bring control and to teach, to gentrify the masses in India. Game of cricket, which is supposed to be the game of gentlemen. Because they wanted to keep us in order, they wanted to make us subservient, they wanted to make us predictable. But to keep Indians and India predictable is a big, I think, misnomer. ऐसा होता नहीं है, but they thought they would. And it started from the gullies. It was brought to the princely states because cricket was not sponsored on its own. There were a lot of princely states like Maharaja Patiala the, Maharaja of Vizagaram the. So they were asked to sponsor the cricket. There were many garrisons of British soldiers in India. So the game was brought to us, and they got all the Indians playing it, teaching us the rules. And one thing I must tell you about cricket is that cricket is the only sport where the referees, the umpires are the supreme. Because in cricket, as they say, is you're not out when you're out. You're out when the umpire gives you out. In no other sport, that kind of thing is there. So I think these were the ethos, these were the dogma the Britishers wanted to impose on India, and that's how we picked up the game. And how we picked up is a story on its own. We all know that. But before I start, there was a period where there were a lot of Indian teams sponsored by these princes who used to go to England to play. So there was a story of Maharaja Vizagaram taking a team of Indian players, mixed Indian players, with few Britishers in the middle to England, I think early 1900s. And he never played a single game. He was the captain of the team. And there's a saying that he had more Rolls Royces than runs. So that was the story of him. So that's how cricket was sponsored in India and all that. Moving on, when did the game change in India? The game changed when the game started to be played in the gullies, not in the stadiums, but unorganized. Remember the one team, one hand when you used to play, bhai shisha toda to chikka hai par aap out ho jaoge. So that kind of, all the mutations came in the game, and that's how it started. It started to play in the gullies, the mohallas, the backyards, the maidans of India, and that's where the game actually evolved in India. वो सिखाया गया था. हमने अपने rules बना दिए उसमें. When it came down to that common denominator that everybody was playing, because it was cheap to play. Just a wooden bat, which was made by any carpenter, एक ball मिल जाए, and then 20, 30 players can play. And it was something to do in the evenings, because usse pehle, there was no sporting culture in India. When I remember, I'll jump back to start when I started playing in England as a county player. And I used to go there and I see that everybody on the weekend used to play cricket. Or like the butcher used to play, the grocer used to play. So they used to follow a sport without even being interested to becoming a professional. Everybody was pursuing. But and in India, it was only the kids were playing for fun. But once you grow from that age, nobody follows any sport. So that the sporting culture is shifting now, which I see, and in hindsight, it's a good thing that people believe that sports is part of your total persona, and I'm very glad to see that. I tell you where it affected everybody. We were very happy कि हम draw कर लें, because we were not very good at winning. As it is, we were very gentle people. We were considered very good guests. When we used to go abroad, आए हार के जाएंगे ठीक है. We were considered that. They were very nice people, because we were not aggressive. So we were rolled over by many teams for far too long. But before we believed, there was Sunil Manoj Gavaskar, SMG. That was my hero, because we never used to win anything, but I used to take personal pride in his hundreds. He has reached to 20th century, 21st century, and he was leading the world at 26 centuries. He overtook Gary Sobers, Don Bradman. Then there came Kapil Dev. Kapil Dev was, not because of the system, but despite of the system. Nobody was bowling bouncers. Then came Kapil Dev. Haryana Hurricane, running from far, bowling bouncers, giving it back to them. And that was revolutionary for me. And this is how we can grow. We had not won the World Cup by then, but Kapil Dev and Sunil Gavaskar changed the total paradigm of how I consume the game. The tipping point, everybody knows. I was 15 years old. India won the World Cup 1983, and immediately I thought, yes, we can be world champions in something, in any sport. Yes, we were gold medalists in hockey, but this cricket thing made every Indian believe that we are good at sport. Maybe only few countries played cricket at that time. Tipping point of India winning the 1983 World Cup was the one watershed moment where every kid, maybe you were too young to remember, but then I think the whole revolution of cricket started at that very point. We saw that. Let me tell you another thing for fact. You know, India played her first test match in 1932. We were still not independent, but Indian team played the first test match in England in 1932. Colonel C.K. Naidu was the captain. Lal Amarnath was in the team. And from there, every test player gets a test cap number. So my test cap number is 190. I played my first test match in 1990, and my cap number is 190. Tendulkar is 187. Just to give you a perspective. So in 1932 to now, it is 94 years. 94 years. The last test cap given in Indian cricket system is number 317. Sai Sudarshan is the last test player. So you can imagine 96 years, 317 test caps have been given. That shows the kind of degree of difficulty to wear that Indian cap. And that was the main pride and joy. That was the motivation. There was no money at that time. And I think most of the players of my era played cricket for earning that test cap. 1990, when I got in the team, there's a backstory to it. Tendulkar got his first tour. I was selected there. I didn't go to Pakistan. I was the standby. But after that, Azharuddin became the captain. We went to New Zealand. And I remember one time, because I'm going to move to my point where the commercialization and where we are going, our domination of sport in the world of cricket at this point. In our team, there was Ravi Shastri, there were Vengsaka, there was Kapil Dev, Azharuddin was the captain, Kiran More, all these stalwarts were there. But I remember everybody for 2.5 month tour to Australia and New Zealand, we all got the same amount of money. Can you guess how much money we got? We got 60,000 rupees for 2 months tour in 1990. So that was the kind of money there was in the game then. Moving forward, then I played almost 100 matches for Delhi, only played few matches for India, then got dropped, got injured, moved on. But Sachin Tendulkar was the factor which actually ignited the minds. How can a 16-year-old play test cricket and play it so well? And I think he was the man who brought eyeballs to cricket at that time. There were few incidents where I remember, I told you Kapil was my motivating force, and I remember one incident where the last test match I played for India was in England at the Oval, and we gave England the follow-on. And in that match, I was bowling fast, I was bowling short pitch balls, and I was warned for intimidatory bowling by Dickie Bird, the umpire. And the biggest compliment of my cricketing career is Sunil Gavaskar was commentating. He came down from the commentary box. He said, "This is the happiest day of my life. Bowler has been warned for intimidatory bowling." And I thought I was the one always taking it. I'm really happy to see somebody giving it back to them. So that tour got over, and then Tendulkar never got his first 100, remember, because his first 100 came in the 1990 tour to England. But next, the big shift came. I got royal amount of 780 rupees to play the Ranji Trophy final in 1986. After 100 games, after being a test player, I retired in 99 after playing 100 games. My last match packet was 3,700 rupees, just to give you a perspective. And today, even the bowlers they get to throw down in the nets in IPL get almost 20,000 rupees a day now. Just to give you a perspective. And I'm very happy that this kind of security has come to cricket. But IPL made it possible, because IPL thought that players were also shocked, because it was Lalit Modi who thought that, let's raise the game. Unless we raise the bottom line, people will not get excited. So the auctioning of players, the big amount, the crores being thrown, and people actually sat up and noticed कि भी इतने पैसे मिल रहे हैं, ये players को भी लग रहा था कि इतने पैसे क्यों दे रहे हैं हमें? We would have played for less also. But then eventually it moved on to such commercial levels that we had huge stars, and their lifestyle became, folklores, and people used to follow them, what they're doing, which house they're buying, which car they're driving. And I think that is all for good, because it has given a security to even players who are not even aspiring to play for India. And that's sad, but they can call themselves a professional cricketers. So I think this is the kind of movement that has happened. So let's do some SWOT analysis. What are our strengths, weaknesses? Because we have been there, we have been there, done that and got the t-shirt. And now what are our threats? What are our strengths? Strengths are pool of players. 1.4 billion Indians. Everybody's crazy about cricket. I get almost 4 or 5 calls every day by moms saying that you please have a look at my son. He plays all day. He's as good as Sachin Tendulkar. So this is the kind of overestimation every parent in India has got now. But so this shows that parents also, our parents who say, "Yeah, mat karo, mat khelo itna, kuch pad lo, nokri wokri mil jayegi." But now people actually believe that it's a profession. You can make a living out of playing cricket, and they see the riches that they are. So I think parents sometimes overwhelm their kids also to pursue a sport. So what is the difference? When India is beating Pakistan regularly now, and they are in the cricket, they were very good. When I was playing, they used to dominate us. I played under Imran Khan, played against him, and that team was amazing. Waqar, Wasim are good friends of mine. We used to play together in England also, and they used to dominate us. Our mindset, because they were very aggressive, they had good players, they had role models. They had Javed Mirdad, they had Imran Khan. So now he was saying that there are no role models in Pakistan cricket. There's nobody to follow. In India, bunch of role models. You can see that Gavaskar handed down the baton to Tendulkar. Tendulkar handed down the baton to Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, and they're taking it forward. Rohit and Virat are giving it to Shubman Gill and other players. So there's a conveyor belt. In Pakistan, he was saying that we are struggling to give role models to the current players. So we've got plenty of role models. That is our strength. What is our weakness? I think our weakness, according to me, is too much commercialization, too much money. Too much money means that the young players who are, I do this test, this test called Norman Tebbit test. It was done in 1970s, because when India used to play England in England, or Pakistan used to play Pakistan in England, all the people in the ground used to be supporting Pakistan and India. Even the people who were Britishers from Indian and Pakistan origin, and they were supporting the country, but they were not supporting England where they live and make a living. So Norman Tebbit's test was, why are these people who are immigrants are not supporting? So now I do a test like this when I go to all the academies. I ask the young kids, how many of you want to play IPL? Everybody raises their hand. Every kid, and the mothers also. But how many want to play Test cricket for India? Few hands. Because they know test is the real test. It's hard. And they say कि टेस्ट खेलेंगे नाम मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा जो शौहरत है जो पैसा है वो तो T20 IPL में है. So I think this is the wrong narrative which is being fed to the masses. I think we have to find mentoring where people like Rahul Dravid, people like Anil Kumble are savored, because these are the people who kept everybody on the straight and narrow. They are the people to be followed. Both of them were engineers. They did everything, and then world beaters, great legends. So I think, and they were the people that you have to follow, because IPL is a low-hanging fruit. T20 is the low-hanging fruit. We have to teach our kids that it's good to follow cricket, but you have to keep the ethos and the ethics of the game also in mind, and that is the responsibility of the coaches, the parents, to keep them, at least give them the thought that ye bhi hai, ye nahi ki yehi sab kuch hai. Opportunities, we are dominating the sport in all formats now. Test cricket, we are winning. We played the Test Championship. We won the ODI World Cup. We have won the T20 World Cup a few times. So there is plenty of domination. But will this domination continue? It looks like it, but it's not easy, because the sporting culture of Australia, South Africa is very strong. Because they are the country, England, because they've got the grassroots level they've covered. India has done very well in the grassroots level, because the BCCI has thrown the net so wide. So much money has come through broadcasting, through commercialization, through sponsorship, that the BCCI has used that money to take the game to the hinterland, to the boondocks. Ab kya hai ki no talent can slip through. Earlier on, it was only the good players from the big cities used to gravitate, like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Chennai. Most of the Indian team used to be, from these towns. But now you see all the players coming up are from small towns. This is what BCCI's legacy is, that they have taken it to villages where if you see a good talented player, the talented player cannot slip through. Somebody will catch him. Somebody will bring him to the center. So this is very good. So security is there. Domination of all formats are there. Players are getting secured. They don't even have to play for India. In our time, the only thing we used to be assured of when we play for India is to get a job. Every Indian player used to get a job in some public sector or some bank. I worked for Air India. So that was the thing. Besides that, there was nothing else. There was no support system. There was no contract system. Once you play for India, once you play for state, after that, you're on your own. If you get injured, you have to sort yourself out. Now that security is there. If a player is in the system, he is covered. If he's injured, even at under 50 level, even the girls, you have an NCA, you have a rehabilitation policy, you will be taken there, you will be looked after, your medical bills will be paid. So the players have got the security. Without even playing for India, you are assured of a future as a security. You can call yourself a professional. That cricket is your profession. Threat. What is the biggest threat facing us right now? I think if the threat is that burnout. You know, this law of diminishing returns. If you keep on drinking water when you're not thirsty, eventually the water loses its value. So I think this over feeding of 24-hour cricket will make people stale. And then our biggest ticket, the biggest marquee encounter in the world is India versus Pakistan. And now the other threat is that if we keep on beating Pakistan, it doesn't become a contest, right? You want the other person to also win. Because the charm of a sporting encounter is that there is uncertainty. Ye jeetega, ye jeetega. If you feel that, okay, this guy's going to win, eventually, no matter how jingoistic we get, no matter how happy we get to beat Pakistan, it eventually loses its charm. So somehow, the world cricket needs more good teams because there is less and less competition happening. It's only the talk of big three, India, Australia, England, these South Africa maximum. You know, other teams are falling behind. So that's a threat for the world cricket, for Indian cricket also. The other biggest threat in the game is corruption. I think more money corrupts more. You know, and more power also corrupts because India has become so strong, and I feel there's virtue in having the power but not exercising it. You have to think of the other people. There's a lot of human cry about India taking the most chunk of the money, deciding where we are playing, deciding what we are not going, and other countries not having the veto or the power to counter India, which is right also. Because जो जितना ज़्यादा plate पे लेके आएगा, वो उतना plate से लेके जाएगा. Even there are 3 sons, you know, the mother also feeds the son who brings the most to the table, right? But Indian team, Indian board is, and ICC also is finding ways where other teams which are left behind in revenue, because nobody can match the 1.4 billion eyeballs. So I think other countries cannot compete with that. So when we are bringing those eyeballs, those viewership, that's why the money is coming. Indian team, obviously, Indian board expects that we also get more chunk of it. You know, our question is that will we be able